It was a typical Monday morning at St. Mercy General, the air buzzing with urgency as doctors barked orders, nurses rushed past gurneys, and phones rang without pause, when suddenly everything stopped as a German shepherd stormed through the automatic glass doors with a limp, unconscious girl draped across his back, her small hands dangling by his side, her dress stained with blood. For a few seconds no one moved. The receptionist's pen froze midair, a doctor's words died in his throat, and the dog's paws echoed against the polished floor as he marched steadily toward the front desk. His eyes sharp, desperate, and pleading. Gasps filled the room, a nurse stumbled forward, torn between helping and calling security, but the shepherd never flinched or growled. He simply stood tense, as if begging them to understand. Karen, a nurse frozen in disbelief, finally crouched down, reaching cautiously for the child, but the dog let out a low growl, not of aggression but of fear, his stance protective as his eyes followed every move. Karen whispered gently, "It's okay, I'm here to help," and the shepherd stepped back just enough for her to scoop the girl into her arms. The child was frighteningly light, her skin cold and clammy, and as Karen shouted, "We've got a pediatric emergency!" rushing toward the trauma bay. The staff snapped back into motion while the dog remained rooted to the spot, watching with unblinking eyes, leaving everyone shaken and wondering where he had come from and what truth lay behind this astonishing act. Doctors and nurses sprang to life as stretchers rolled, crash carts appeared, and the code blue alarm echoed through the ER. Yet, behind all the chaos, no one could shake the image of the German shepherd entering with the unconscious girl across his back. The dog, refusing to be left behind, paced anxiously outside the trauma bay until, moved by his desperation, a nurse convinced security to let him in. And the moment he entered, he sat firmly by her side, eyes locked on every wire and monitor as if guarding her soul. The girl's heart rate faltered, her breathing shallow, and Dr. Simmons muttered grimly, "We're losing her," while nurses rushed in sync with oxygen, fluids, and vitals, but the mystery remained. Who was she, and how had this animal brought her here? Security checked his collar. No tags, no chip, only a worn leather band. Surveillance footage revealed the shepherd, later nicknamed Hero by the staff, striding from the dense tree line bordering the hospital and deliberately stepping through the doors with her. His eyes filled with purpose. Authorities launched a search, and with Hero leading the way, they discovered a makeshift camp hidden deep in the forest. Blood-stained cloth, a shattered phone, a scorched fire pit, and a child's shoe matching the one still on the girl's foot, proof she had been there and that she hadn't been alone. Back at the hospital, the girl lay in the ICU, unconscious but stabilized, as Hero curled protectively at her bedside, refusing food. His gaze never leaving her face until, just before dawn, she gasped softly, her eyelids fluttered, and her trembling lips whispered one word that shattered the silence. "Scout!" The shepherd's ears shot up, his head lifted with a hopeful whine, and as he rested his snout on the bed, she reached weakly for him and whispered again. "His name is Scout," revealing to everyone in the room that this was not a stray dog at all, but a protector who had carried her out of darkness and into safety. "He's my best friend." When asked what happened, the girl's eyes clouded and she hesitated before slowly beginning to speak. She explained that a man who claimed to be her uncle had taken her from her home, and while he was kind at first, days into their time in the woods he changed, shouting, growing violent, until Scout tried to protect her, barking and growling, and was struck down while she slipped into darkness. "He wouldn't leave me," she whispered, clutching Scout's fur. "Even when I passed out, he stayed." The staff listened in stunned silence, now certain Scout hadn't just stumbled into the ER. He had carried her through danger, chosen the hospital, and saved her life. The injuries confirmed her story. Bruises, fractured ribs, and exposure so severe that the doctor admitted grimly another 30 minutes would have been too late. Investigators, armed with her account and Scout's trail, scoured the woods and tracked the suspect to a nearby town where he was arrested at a bus station, disheveled and defensive, carrying her missing belongings in his backpack. His story collapsing under questioning. Within hours, the media flooded the hospital with headlines blazing. K9 Hero saves abducted girl. Dog walks into ER with a miracle. But while the world called him a hero, Scout simply stayed curled by her side, waiting for her next smile. With the suspect in custody and her real family still untraceable, Child Services placed her in foster care, but she made one demand. "Scout comes with me." And though officials hesitated at first, No one had the heart to separate them after witnessing their unbreakable bond. Scout adapted easily, following her everywhere, guarding her at every meal, every night at her bedside, until the hospital held a small ceremony where the staff gathered to applaud as a red ribbon was placed around his neck. Scout didn't understand the cameras or applause, but when the girl hugged him tightly, he stood tall and proud. Soon after came a nomination for the National K9 Bravery Award. And though Scout had never been trained as a rescue dog, his instincts, loyalty, and courage outshone them all.